Of course, it is Nelson Mandela Day. 67 minutes, what you need to go do and give back. It's really a special day, not only for South Africans, but all across the world as well, as we remember the legacy of this great man. Now, recently we had the honor of sitting down with Mrs. Expresso Michelle herself and also Sir Richard Branson.
That's right. Well, they came together for a great initiative, a global initiative called Walk Together, and this is all in honor of Tata Madiba's legacy.
Mrs. Michelle, Sir Richard Branson, what an absolute pleasure to connect with both of you on such a momentous day in such an evocative setting as the District 6 Museum. Perhaps, Mrs. Michelle, I can start with you because I think all South Africans have in part taken ownership of Tata Madiba and feel the responsibility to continue his legacy, but on a far deeper level, in so many ways, he was your Mandela. How do you feel when you wake up on the 18th of July?
You know, it's a mix of celebrating his life, but I miss him the most. It's different from those times where I would wake up and the first thing you say is, happy birthday, give him a big hug and a big kiss. You miss those things. But yeah, it is also an opportunity to renew my personal commitment, our collective commitment to say we vowed that his values and the principles he embodies, we will continue in our own modest way. So this day is a reminder, this day is to recommit, and we are glad that we have this global movement in which many millions of people, they celebrate and they do something extra their doors to touch the other, to connect with the other through the 67 minutes. So it's empowering anyway.
So Richard, you obviously also had the opportunity, the gift of being able to connect with Tata Madiba on a deeper, more personal, emotional level, and I'm sure have so many memories that stay with you. Can you remember the first time you met him?
I can. It was a memorial service for Biko, and we were erecting a statue in East London, and Peter Gabriel came, and there were about 100,000 people in the streets, and I persuaded Peter to go and just ad-lib and sing the wonderful song Biko, and all 100,000 people sang, and Mandela sang, and it was actually a joyous, incredible occasion, and unfortunately had the honour to get to know him well and get to know Grusha well, and be there at the foundation of the elders.
Mrs. Michelle, I think you speak with a huge amount of modesty when talking about your own achievements. To steal your own words, mobilize, 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 that seems to be what you are always doing whenever we connect with you. You've done so much, not only as an elder, but you talk about those modest changes, those modest contributions we can make as human beings. How do you fulfill that, not as a politician, but as a human being, as a South African?
We have millions of children who go hungry. We have millions of children who do not have shelter. I mean, the quality of education we have. There are issues which we have to ask and to know. Yes, it's government, but it's also any one of us to make a contribution, really to make our country a country of caring, a country of equality, and more than just going out and we have 67 minutes in which we touch people. It's important. But this is the time to ask the hard questions to ourselves.
Mr. Branson, you have obviously used the opportunity that life has given you to be very positive, to spread that positive energy. But I have to ask now, under the current climate globally, are you driven by the fear of what could happen or the hope of the future that we could have?
I'm enormously hopeful, but I think we have to get out there and make that hope a reality. There are a lot of people out there working incredibly hard to wipe out unnecessary blindness, to make sure that there are health workers going the last mile out to the rural areas, and so on and so on and so on, helping, making sure that there's better education for people and so on. And so I think a lot of these problems will be sorted, and the world will be an even better place in 10 years than it is today.
Mrs. Michelle, I have to ask you a very difficult question. Do you have hope for our future? Are you hopeful?
I am hopeful. Are we doing enough? Of course not. But that's why also we continue to walk the freedoms of Mandela. It's because we know we have huge challenges ahead of us. All of us, it's time for action and more action and more action.